Here we go, 504, leading live, talking to M5, still live in Cheyenne, Wyoming, just hanging out here at the American Indian Pavilion that they've got is now a huge part of what they do during Frontier Days every single year. And I feel honored that we were here on the day. All of this stuff was dedicated, the new Indian Village and that performance theater. If you listened last hour, we got to hear some of the live performances of the American Indian dancers and singers and drummers and all that. Just fascinating, a little bit of something different on the radio show here tonight. I'm sitting here, AJ, I hope I can hold it. I need to go to the bathroom. I don't even know where it is. Usually that's the first thing I do. I wish I could tell you there's a pile of water bottles. I've got 5 water bottles over there that are empty. I'm halfway done with this one. First thing I do is find some water in the heat and find the bathroom. Today I forgot to find the bathroom. And then sometimes I'll have to time the walk, see how far it is from where I am to where that is, so I'll know whether I can make it. So I'm just going to hang on from now until 6 o'clock till we sign off for the weekend, and then we get to get on out of here and do this again somewhere else. Y'all, I appreciate you hanging in here with us tonight. By the way, Michelson Laser Vision bringing you the show tonight. Dr. Mark and Dr. Jennifer, that whole team, helping people see better. It's so nice. I say it a lot, especially during these travel shows, that I can just look out there and see this big, wide open space. The beauty of the American West, I love it in the morning. The older I get, the more I turn into a morning person. To riding across that countryside, those farm fields out in the middle of nowhere and watching the sun come up. And, you can see that with glasses and contacts. I get it. I had them for 30 years. But it's so different when you're not depending on that. You don't have smudgy glasses, dirty contacts. I would wear those contacts for, man, you're not supposed to sleep in the ones I had. I'd wear them for 3 or 4 days. It was just stupid. And I was so hard-headed I wasn't going to ever consider LASIK. This wasn't something I was thinking about. But Dr. Michelson changed my mind on a visit there. So that's why I'm encouraging you. I'm trying to speak to people who are in that place where you're in glasses or contacts. You're not really motivated. But I don't think, maybe you think like I did, people that have the surgery are exaggerating the surgery a little bit because, they had the surgery. Which, once you buy into something, you become a champion of it. But I'm telling you, it changed everything. Throwing out that stuff, those glasses and contacts and all those things, and not having to worry about it. I'm security oriented, so just being able to get up at night and see what's going on if you hear a noise or you got to check on something, man, that's just worth its weight. I had a Homewood cop pull up beside me one day. I was leaving work. I thought I'd done something wrong. She rolled up beside me, rolled the window down, said she'd listened to the show. She recognized me from from being around Homewood, and said that she said, I'm going to doctor. She was bragging. She goes, I'm going to Dr. Michelson. She goes, you never know. She put her fist up. She goes, you never know if I have to tangle with somebody. I don't want to lose my glasses. I thought, yep, that's exactly part of it too. So find out if you're a candidate, because if you're not, you're not. And man, that's at least you've done your due diligence if you're not. And it's such a high-end practice with Dr. Mark and Dr. Jennifer. They have other procedures. I'm here to testify to LASIK and what it has done for me and how easy it was. And so, but if you are eligible and then you've done your homework, you might make a good decision. You'll make a better decision than just ignoring your instincts to go check it out. They're downtown UAB Highlands. I'd like to also mention, they don't waste your time. I like that. But same thing with Alabama Dental, man. You go in there, if you got an appointment, you're back there. I mean, you might sit there for a minute, but it's part of running an efficient operation. It's not letting your patients just loiter out there in the waiting room. And so they get you in, they get you out, and you're on your way, and you're on with your life when you get LASIK. It's LASIK at Alabama, Michelson Laservision.com, Michelson Laservision.com. All right, we can throw the phone lines open. I'm kind of gassed right now. I think we've talked about the Trump stuff as much as we can, and we've talked about this. I think we've presented everything there is to see here, unless y'all wanted to call and talk more about this stuff too, anything that's on your mind. Let me get you updated, though, from Trump World and international stuff. A little bit of development tonight when it comes to the shooting war that is going on in Iran and around the Middle East. Looks like that some of the top leaders in the Pentagon have had or are about to have more strategy meetings this afternoon to come up with other target lists, and there's about to be a surge and expansion of the bombing activity that the Americans are pursuing right now. And we're doing it largely without the Israelis in the moment. They joined us in the beginning because they're kind of on a different page with some of this stuff. And I think what they want is what I also support is regime change. But we're having those meetings, coordinating as much or more so with these Arab allies. There's all these theories that of which group could go in on the ground and take some of these assets and put manned power to force the regime out. And that could be a regional effort, but they've got to come up with the intelligence, the target list, and all the military planning that would go along with that. So that's escalating. Yesterday they pivoted to the bridge strategy. We've always called it Bridge Day. And so that strategy is to start to hit infrastructure that could also weaken their military capability. And so Trump today, apparently, before he has left now to go to New York to be part of the World Cup final match on Sunday. I think that's Sunday. And so he's going to Trump Tower for the weekend, but he has reviewed the bomb damage assessments and what was knocked out, what was successful, what worked. And it's a fascinating target list because it's very different than some of the lists we've seen so far in this thing. Then there's this idea that the strait near Yemen could also be choked off. Yemen's a big pile of dirt, but they have been propped up by, it's mainly the Houthis that we deal with there. They've been propped up by the Iranians, and so now they're starting to get active because we've gotten such a bombing campaign out of the Strait of Hormuz. It's one of those situations where the Iranians are slowly losing any kind of grip on being able to threaten in the strait. So now they're threatening the other strait on the other side of the Arabian Peninsula to choke off the Gulf of Yemen. That's not going to sit well with some of their neighbors. Yemen's a terrorist state. We come and go with the designation of that country, but it is, and the world knows it. So they're now trying to get in on the back and forth saber rattling action. I'm not too sure how that's going to go. So, and then there are a couple other little things being promoted that there could be, again, fresh rounds, expansion of the bombing campaign. No news whatsoever on any other further talks or negotiation going on with all that stuff. And then there was another report today that there was the movement of some aircraft, some military aircraft, over some tanker activity over toward Israeli airspace in preparation for refueling missions to expand the bombing campaign. Bottom line is, we're probably going to see more of this action through the weekend. It wouldn't be surprising me that we may even have a tactical change by the weekend with this whole situation. Just being at an inflection point where you've got to take different action, and that's just how we got to do it. And increasingly, I was looking for some polling this morning. I didn't have a whole lot of time to dig into this, but this morning I was digging into some polling, and Americans largely, there's still a lot of support at finishing the job. If you sort of read between the lines, people are in more support of completing it successfully than some kind of sudden end or sudden withdrawal, where this whole issue will fester for the world. Terrorism comes back. The Iranians still have their strength and power to harass in the region. You're seeing people have sense enough to know, if we're going to do it, let's finish it. And I don't know if Trump's reading those same numbers or it has any effect on their thinking in the administration. But, man, just a lot of things coming out of Washington. Now, two other things in the news this hour, one of which, as we watch the kids play there on the surface in the amphitheater, a couple other things this hour, actually sort of, I guess you'd say, environmental. That may not be the way to categorize them. First up is the Canadian wildfire smoke. We talked about this earlier in the show. Man, it's crazy. It's so toxic and thick, and the reflexive folks that live in the areas of the country, these are a lot of Democrat states too, where the smoke is just choking people out. I told you there was I guess it'd be a statistic. They say that breathing this air when you go outside in those areas from Chicago over to New England is the same as smoking 10 cigarettes in a day. Somebody made that calculation. So that's got people freaked out over there. Trump has weighed in, and this is all, of course, coming from Canadian wildfires. A lot of reasons for that. Canadians do terrible forest management. They're big lumber and logging country, but they do terrible forest management. They got kooky environmental policies, and like every other left-wing run organization, there's maximum inefficiency in them getting stuff done. They can't get the fires put out. So the smoke plume has now drifted over a good portion, and millions and millions live in the plume in the direction of the stuff in the northern part of the country. So Trump said, look, they're going to hold the Canadians accountable for it. They're going to, I don't know how, probably through some punitive trade negotiations or something along those lines. I don't think we're going to invade Canada, but you never know. Guy's a little crazy, man. We just might. We might just send like the Mississippi National Guard to take care of that. So, but the people in New Jersey in particular are just upset right now. They've really been choked off by this stuff. So that's in the news. And then we've been watching a little bit too this afternoon the situation in Mexico, where some are ranking it a 7.4 earthquake hit today off their coast. There were tidal wave warnings or tsunami warnings for them, but that doesn't look to have manifested really. There's a lot of camera footage coming in from the moment that thing hit. 7.4 is a big quake. I think the one that hit and did what is it called, Fukushima, the big earthquake that hit their nuclear facility in Japan years ago. I think that was just in the sevens at 7. I think it was a 7.8. So you get into the 7 range, and that's a major shock quake. This thing happened 9 miles down into the ocean, down below the seafloor. So a little bit of stuff on that front today, too, as we go about our business from Cheyenne, Wyoming. Douglas Cooling and Heating. Speaking of the elements, they're there to make your home be completely bubbled off from all that stuff, and they do it so efficiently and so well. This is a straightforward company, and I mean, I've talked about my experience with them for years, 17 years of everything. I mean, maintenance, emergency, stuff breaking, new installs, all this stuff. Even they've helped me with a lot of plumbing issues. I even had a situation where I was putting in a mini split, and they do installs on that. Naturally, I was doing it myself. Seemed kind of straightforward. I did it, but then had a mistake where I punched a hole in a line with an air screw. Yeah, I did it. A little pinhole right there in one of the charging lines. So just to make sure, I called Jay's team and said, could y'all come over and check this charge for me and make sure this is all buttoned up. So if you want to expand space at your house, you're building out a garage or using an attic or a basement that wasn't originally heated or cooled, they'll come and put these mini split systems in there. And sometimes I'll do the show from that studio where that system is, and you cannot hear it. It is whisper quiet. My bills are really, really affordable, and it does a great job both heating and cooling that space. So I've used them for everything. But beyond that, they're just straightforward. They're honest. They tell you the truth. They don't try to upsell you, and that's just the nature of the game now with a lot of businesses. I mean, they got all their lingo about, let's do an upsell. Let's expand our current customers. They're just not going to put you in a box like that. They're going to fix it. And then they're going to walk away because they know once they treat you right and you remember that when you do need something big for that too, that's the way you look long term at your business. They're upfront with their pricing. They put their pricing, I believe it's out there on the website for some of the things they do. You can see that and know what you're getting into with Douglas. So if you got heating and air work, and don't we all, boy, this time of the year you got to keep that air conditioner going. It's calldouglas.com, C-A-L-L, calldouglas.com. Back here in just a minute, live from Cheyenne, leading live on the road. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Danny Knowles is with the KnowlesGroup.com, Noles, the KnowlesGroup.com. Lifelong friend of mine. I was grew up with his wife too, Sherry, and sometimes when I'm on trips like this, I'll hear from them. She's like, "I'm trying to get Danny to do it." Danny knows he's got the money to do it, but it's about carving out the time to be able to do this stuff. I know one day they're going to hitch up a wagon and get on out here too and see some of these parts of the country. Danny's just a good dude. He's got a wonderful family. I love that all his boys. It's amazing to me that we're all becoming grandparents and we've got grown kids nowadays. But his sons work with him in the practice, and if you want to hear just their intellect and their acumen when it relates to financial planning and all of these things, listen to their show on Saturdays and Sundays here on this station. They call it Understanding Money. And I do think they, as the old saying goes, they put the hay down there where the goats can get it. They do make it understandable. They're not these kind of cocky little financial guys that sort of use. You ever see lawyers that do this? They'll use words that aren't necessary to sound smart. The Knowles boys don't do that. They've learned from their dad and the humble roots he and I grew up with to just talk straight to people, and that's what they do. That's what they'll do with you. Listen, we all need proper financial advice. You just don't want to trust your gut or your uncle's tip that he got or something you overheard about a hot stock unless you're Nancy Pelosi. That cannot work out sometimes. These guys have the formula. They have the trends and the trajectory of how they can place your money depending on your scenario, because everybody's different. Some of y'all are at the other end where you've saved a lot, but you want a good return. That's your paycheck now at this stage of life. Great for you. Others, man, life can throw you to the curb sometimes, and you lose everything and have to bail out and get back on track. They got plans for that too. Young people starting out, that if you're smart enough to start out, take one of these Trump accounts, get some proper advice, add to it with the help of the Knowles Group. Your kid could be set long after you're gone. That's just smart, man. Corporate America has put the money on the table. Trump has pulled it together with these accounts. If I had a kid under 18, I'm going to be all over my sons to get my grandkids signed up for it. Do it. They've handed you the money and given you the ability to contribute to it. Let the Knowles Group help you with those things too. It's Noles, theknowlesgroup.com, theknowlesgroup.com. Let me look at the clock, make sure I don't run completely out of time, as things have gotten conspicuously quieter here with tourists still roaming around here in Cheyenne. I will say this for the area out here. Almost everybody you talk to, in addition to the warm spell that they've had with this heat wave that they've been experiencing, and it's not as bad here as it was up in South Dakota, but they're so worried about the rain. And when you're out here near the mountains, it's both the rain and the snow melt. If they don't get enough snow in the wintertime, they don't have enough melt when the spring comes, and that affects the rivers. And then if they don't, on top of that, they don't get enough snow and snow melt, they don't get enough rain, they've got a real drought situation. And you think about their vulnerability to it out here, it's not just the fire danger, it's the livestock, it's the things that are celebrated here in a rodeo environment. But for people outside the rodeo, this is their livelihood, the cattle business and raising all this livestock. You see these massive farms, the crops that depend on irrigation and the water levels. So here's what I was getting at. Just now during the break, I was digging around, making sure we weren't missing any major headlines, looking for fresh stuff. And I saw a forecaster, I think they were connected to the National Weather Service as well, but they were showing a pattern flip in the weather so that it would become similar to how we had a pattern flip in the Southeast. There should be a pattern flip out here over the next several weeks, which would give promise to many more storms and showers, which they desperately need all throughout the Rockies, all throughout this whole area. We talked about the Canadian fires and how that is kind of leaking over into our neighbors up to the north. Same issue out here. The biggest one that we saw, I think, was near Ridgway, Colorado, and near Grand Junction, and that was the area where that brave young lady that worked for the fire crew out here from Alabama lost her life very early in the trip that happened. And we were driving through there right about that time when they were up there fighting those fires, and the thick black smoke and the white smoke that comes off these things, and you wake up and it just feels like a foggy day, but it's just smoke in the air. And so it's always foreboding. We talked about it already on the show. One of the camps where we stayed in Ouray, that whole town almost caught on fire. About 2 or 3 days after we left, we would have had to evacuate the campground because everybody that was in there had to leave. while they try to figure that one out. So it's a constant battle against nature, and a lot of this is traced to this El Nino stuff, where the warming of the oceans has really just redistributed the rain cycle. So you got more rain in places that are kind of inundated with it and sick of it, and I know that's a lot of folks back home in Alabama. And then, of course, you've got drought conditions in other places. But it moves around, as we're seeing in the Big Bend of Florida with this tropical system that could go ahead and manifest and come through there and give them some additional rain on the west coast of Florida. They were dealing with a very serious drought toward the end of last year and during January of this year. Nature heals at some point, and I know everybody out here has got their fingers crossed that this pattern flip situation is exactly correct. All right, here we go to the bottom of the hour. Let me talk to y'all one more time about Allen and Company 2. That's our wonderful jeweler over in Vestavia. I mean, these folks are just, they're just like part of the family here at the station. Been with us for so long. I always kid around and say it doesn't feel like Christmas until we go and do their open house show right before Christmas, as they put everything on sale and welcome their friends and family in. And yeah, I know it's July, but isn't it nice to talk about the holidays and cold weather? For day-to-day stuff, whether it's your cleanings or things that are broken or things that need to be resized, y'all get over to Allen and Company and let Allen take care of that for you. He'll do it and get it right back to you, custom with his hands in his vault. He's not shipping it off to Singapore to get done. They're doing it right there at Allen and Company. And then day-to-day gift giving, just beautiful stuff, custom creations, and one of the finest families you'll ever work with, the Thompsons at Allen and Company in Vestavia on Highway 31. All right, bottom of the hour, we'll come back and do that last 30 minutes. Then I got to pack up and get, as they would say out here in Wyoming. Back in a minute. Little Charlie Crockett. I think he's played out here at the rodeo before too. A little Charlie Crockett as we do a Friday and get wrapped up here in Cheyenne, Wyoming at the Frontier Days. Stockton Mortgage bringing you the show tonight. That is, of course, Thomas and his whole team. Thomas is busy doing his thing. Sometimes he gets really wrapped up there trying to button everything up for a Friday. Here's what they'll do for you. They'll just help you any way you can. And it's a low-key approach. You know, sometimes you can search around online, and I've done it, and try to shop for rates. And I'm going to tell you, be careful with that, because the minute you fill out any kind of information about what you're looking for, your data is going to get sold out to the market, and you're going to get nonstop contacts and phone calls from people trying to box you in on a loan process. And sometimes it's not always the best way to go. Sometimes you're not going to get that personal touch. So automated, they're just trying to run you through a system. Here's what Stockton does. You just call them and talk to them on the phone. Tell them your scenario. We all got different things we want to do. Some of y'all are first-time buyers. Some people are, you've been in your house a long time. You don't want to give up that interest rate, but you want to do some improvements. They got programs to help you do that, so you can hold on to that rate but still improve the situation. And, man, it just goes on from there. My favorite part is you don't have to go on and start filling out forms and obligating yourself to all this information and digging up things that they want to look at first to qualify you before they'll waste time on you. They'll just waste time on you. They'll just talk to you like a human being and do a little back of the envelope. Maybe you need to straighten out some stuff on your credit to get yourself in the best financial position. They'll do that. They'll give you exactly what you need to do to line yourself up, to get the right score, to get the right rate, and that's just wonderful. Same thing with maybe you don't know. Maybe there are programs that can apply to your situation that you might not have known about. Like me years ago, I looked at a house that, I liked the house. I had no idea that it was in a FEMA disaster county. I knew there had been some stuff there, but I didn't know there had been, not to the house, but in the zone that qualified for a lower rate. I took advantage of it. So that's the kind of stuff you get, that personal touch and that detail when you're working with the good local folks like they are at Stockton. It's Stockton Mortgage. Y'all can get them at savewithstockton.com, savewithstockton.com. As we roll on through here and try to get all wrapped up with everything and all the events of the news. By the way, if you want to get a call in here, we've still got a couple more minutes before we get wrapped up tonight. 22 minutes exactly. 545-9950 is the phone number if you want to get in on it. 545-9950, and we will talk to you about things. I was noticing something. Let me put the camera back over here on me. What they've done, what they've changed a lot about the event here in Cheyenne is they've really stepped up the security access, okay? So any event like this on this scale, with this many volunteers, you got us, I'm considered media in this, so I'm working with colleagues that are in TV and radio and print from all over the world. I was hanging out with two German guys today that are I should have gotten the name of their documentary, and if I run across them, I want to, since I met them, I want to talk to them about, they're working on a documentary about the American cowboy. And so they're here to obviously get it's fish in a barrel footage, interesting people from all over the place that come out here to Cheyenne. But here's the point I wanted to make. So if you're watching on camera, you can see there's my badge. That's what gets me in. That's what gets me around. That I can pretty much go anywhere with this. It's pretty much what they call a press pass here, and it gets me up to the press areas, and I can go around and do my thing. And most of the press folks here have this little badge. There was something that flew all over me today. I mean, it just was sort of an epiphany moment. Today, I'm on the heels of Trump making his announcement about how our elections have been wrecked. The Chinese stealing data, the vulnerability and the hackability of all those digital machines, which absolutely are not necessary. We could 100% count ballots by hand and find out quicker than we do today with this technology that can be hacked and manipulated. And part of me thinks the whole reason they put it in the first place was so they could hack it and manipulate it. We never had to go to these systems. It's not making anything easier. In some cases in Alabama, it's a little more confusing to have to do it the way we do it. The good old paper ballot, man. Put it in the machine, count those things by hand. I don't know, maybe a scan counter, but I want a hand count. We need a paper trail. We need real physical evidence. Here's the point. In Alabama, we do require IDs. And why would people be opposed to IDs? It's the Save America Act is before us, and Congress continues to wimp out on that because they can't keep doing what Trump revealed last night. The Chinese can't make up fake driver's licenses so that they can apply for ballots for people who don't exist, and those ballots get sent out in the mail so that they can get filled out by these ballot harvesting operations so they can go back through the mail, and there's no voter involved. There's no American involved to manipulate who has power over our lives, over decisions. And all we're asking for is basic security. They've got better security at this rodeo that you are where you're supposed to be and you've got access to be here than we do to decide the fate of the free world. It is a physical pass. You can't. There's no digital representation. You can't sweet talk your way past some of these security folks. When I first got here and got to the press platform today, there were a bunch of National Guard standing around. I think I talked a little bit about this yesterday, getting their orders, figuring out where their station's going to be, what they're looking for. They were shown these passes and who gets in and who doesn't. You go to the average Alabama-Auburn football game, they're going to give you a screening before you walk in. They're going to look through your bag. They're going to ask you some things. That's proper security. And all they're doing is securing lives and hoping everybody has a good time. All we're doing is deciding the fate of the freaking free world. And I say some minimal requirements are necessary. So whatever it's going to take to get the politicians off the dime, I don't know. I would imagine a lot of what Trump had to say last night, the revelation of the Chinese manipulation, the fraud that got covered up by the government. And our caller earlier into the show, I'm just going to go heavy here at the end. Joe from Coleman, I mean, he nailed it. The bigger part of that story wasn't just what the Chinese are doing. That's a foreign government. They're hostile to us. Everybody knows that. Man, they were flying, during Biden, they were flying balloons over, spying on us, buying up land, buying up the whole food chain. And now it puts COVID in a whole new light, don't you know? I mean, I was a little bit of a denier. I always felt like I knew it was COVID from the beginning. Most of us did. You'd have to be foolish to think that it was a damn bat sandwich, which they were trying to get us to believe. Somebody ate a bat. And so this thing was grown in the lab, but the way it was leaked and why it was leaked was always a subject of debate. A lot of conspiracy theorists early on were all in on that China did this on purpose. That didn't make much sense to me in the time because I was thinking to myself, why would they crash their own economy? Why would they wall off and be able to export things to us and let us buy all their cheap rubber doo-doo and whatever they're sending here out of China? And now it starts to become clear. The whole thing was a front. I mean, if the plan was to get into our election system and hijack the data and provide to the American left what they need to manipulate, they needed to change the rules. They needed to change the rules because of an emergency, which we all foolishly, in some states, foolishly went along with. So what were the rule changes? Well, we got this crisis now. We're just going to let people mail their ballots. We're going to let people just drop them off because, you know, COVID, we can't go all be in the same room voting. It all makes it was damn convenient if it wasn't intentional, the whole release about COVID. So we got to get back to paper trails. We got to get back to same-day voting. There is no excuse for voting more than one day. I see the convenience of people that are in the military or they've become infirm and they need some help because they just cannot get there. We've always made exceptions for that, and there's never been enough of that to throw an election. There's never been enough of that to decide an election. I don't think there's ever been a case where some mail-in military ballot. There were some times when, of course, Republicans tend to benefit from that. That was the case. But I'm telling you, man, we're at a crossroads. And these sons of bitches in the Republican Party can't find their stones. They cannot find their spine. And this ought to make the case. It's multiple things. It's what happened in Michigan. It's what happened with the Chinese. And, again, back to what Joe said, and I'm reflecting back on that, it's our own government covering up for it. And you think about it, that's the same thing they did with COVID. Fauci ran right to the microphones to cover up his trail of the funding of that disease, of that research. He went straight and created the party line that the sycophants in the media continued to follow. And they did. They did, and he did. He was supposed to be the expert. Trump even listened to him. I mean, why not? He's Dr. Fauci, right? This dude, there are so many sinister people that were part of that age, from late 19 all the way to really, some of them are still operating. Will they be arrested? I'm dubious. I don't know that I don't know how those cases are made or who has the stones to do it. But my hope, and again, Trump's speech was a little dry, and it was a lot of repetition of things we hear before out of him. But when he started laying out the framework and setting the narrative for what's to come. I knew it was bigger than even how he could articulate it. And then the documents dropped last night, and now we're on to something. They're right there in front of us. I'm going to say this one more time, and I'm going to get the break because I don't want to get too wound up. It's almost Saturday. It's almost Friday night. But with a whole lot less evidence. In fact, I would submit to you zero evidence of that whole Russia collusion hoax, which moron after moron bought into and believed. Even to this day, they still believe. It was never true. They never presented a single damn piece of evidence. But what did they generate from that? 3 years of hostility toward that administration and a multi-million-dollar special counsel investigation that went nowhere. It was the most vetted issue in American history, and they didn't find anything. Nothing. Yet the media were quick to get the trumpets out and get the megaphones out and talk loudly about that whole theory, a pure theory, pure fabrication, while they were doing the same damn thing with the Chinese. And now we got evidence. We got an actual website at the White House with a database, with the government documents of who did what, when, and how it happened, and more to come. And you can't get coverage. And you can't get coverage from the bedwetters at the big liberal networks because they're part of it. They were part of the whole. They'd have to go back and apologize to this nation should they admit the things that were reported in those documents. So what do? Amnesia, collective amnesia. It's like the Men in Black people hit them with that little light pin, and they can't remember. They do it all the time. They try to move on and change the subject. They'll be doing it this week. They'll find some controversy over the Iran war or anything they can to stay off of it. And I'll be honest with you, it's the same thing with Fox News. They have largely been ignoring the story. Now, I think it's because they went into a settlement, a multi-million-dollar settlement with one of these vulnerable machine makers and agreed to lay off. They fired a bunch of people. They paid them the money to the companies that own these machines, and they're all kind of the same machines. And I don't know that there was a agreement in that settlement agreement. Part of the settlement agreement, the offer was that they wouldn't cover this issue anymore because last night, Sean Hannity of all people, just moved on. I mean, the minute Trump got done, he went on with his show. And that's not like him. It's like him to get his Bobby socks and his cheerleader pom-poms out for Trump. He didn't do that. And then I watched this morning, Fox still didn't know what to make of the reporting. So maybe they'll step it up. Maybe they'll find their courage. But we don't need them. We've got, thank goodness, we've got X. And we've got actual raw documents, and they're out there for the world to see. And you can go look at them too, yourself as an American. All right, let's talk about Lonnie's Furniture Company one more time, and I'm going to wrap this thing up from out here at the beautiful Cheyenne Rodeo. And I think I'm probably going to, I believe there's a funnel cake in my future somewhere because my partners, my travel buddies have just shown up over here to help me haul this equipment. Are we eating cotton candy? What are we doing tonight? We're going to eat all the things. I'm understanding my health is going to go to hell. I may have a heart attack before I get home.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
I was just told I'm eating, what am I eating? Probably a corn dog. I'm going to go into a coma. A funnel cake. What are we doing? They got lemonade. They already go. It's about to happen. You can't go to a fair and eat salad. Plus, salad's killing people right now. Ask Taco Bell.
Unless you want to lose a lot of weight.
You know, you can. I mean, I guess that's the upside. You have enough explosive diarrhea. Doesn't it last for weeks? Like that parasite gets in you and you crapping for weeks.
Yeah, but you'll fit in that bathing suit, though. Them
the
skinny
mirror,
jeans won't be skinny no more.
Going, damn, look at me. I look good. Excuse me, I'll be right back. Straight to the toilet.
Excuse me as I let this out.
All right, man. Yeah, well, thanks, AJ, for getting me off my rant. I was getting pissed. I was about to start throwing things. Lonnie's Furniture Company bringing you the show tonight. LAUNIUS, Lonnie's Furniture Company.com. Man, 92 years. How do you explain that? I can explain it. Fundamentals. You know, technology changes and everybody's got a website and everybody can get on there and order stuff and get it brought to the house. And I do it all the time. When it comes to furniture, you better sit on it, look at it, open the doors, shut the drawers, lay on the mattress, kick out the recliner, make sure it's going to fit, make sure it's comfortable, make sure it looks good. In the old days, before I discovered Lonnie's, didn't you hate, I mean, you go to some little dinky furniture store and then you drive 20 miles and go to another furniture store and you can't remember if that couch looked as good as this couch. And I guess you could take pictures of it, but you can go to Lonnie's and it's all right there under one roof. They got an acre of stuff under one roof and they're ready to sell it to you and bring it to you. White glove service. They'll come and set it up in your home and make it look nice. Lonnie'sFurnitureCompany.com. Y'all go see them this weekend if you're not doing anything. Have you going to the World Deer Expo? They're just right up the road from there. Right off exit 280. You can't miss them. LaniusFurnitureCompany.com. Tell them we said hey and get yourself something for your home too. LaniusFurnitureCompany.com. Back in a minute. It's 5:54, man. We're about to do that ourselves out here at the Cheyenne Rodeo. What a beautiful afternoon. What a great time it has been. Let me again thank one more time before we wrap things up here today our good friends at Appalachian Foothills RV Repair Center and, of course, the RV park up there in Winfield. Some of y'all are always thinking about buying one of these things and getting out there on the road. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, do that, YOLO. But if you already have one, you know what kind of maintenance you got to do from time to time. Whether it's just scheduled maintenance that where you got to do in oil changes and mechanical systems and filters and whatnot, or it's, hey man, you bumped into something, you need some body work or some particular unit's not acting right, they can handle it. They can handle all of it. These are veteran technicians and just wonderful people, and I appreciate them taking care of me. I told a long story last hour of all the things they've been able to do for me over the years, and they'll help you too. A little bit of a drive from Birmingham, but totally worth it because then you got that relationship and that shop. We appreciate them stepping up to be our sponsors here on the Lead and Live on the Road Show. Next week, let me just kind of preview some of that. Well, we're going to be moving down through Colorado over the weekend. It's man, I guess we're still 20 plus hours, 25 hours from home or so. So a lot of driving to do. So we're going to chip away at it, and we'll be moving through Colorado. And I think right now, unless I can bump the schedule up, we're scheduled to go. We're scheduled to go to the Big Texan. Of all the things we've covered before on these road shows, that was one of the more popular ones. And of course, that's the famous restaurant in Amarillo, where people take on this challenge to eat a 72-ounce steak in a certain amount of time. If you don't eat it, you pay for it. If you eat it, your meal is free, and then you go die. And by the way, we'll talk a lot about it next week. It's not just that steak. You got to eat like 2 pieces of bread. I think there's some shrimp that come with it. There wasn't anybody. I popped through there on the way out of Birmingham. We came through Amarillo and just went to eat there so I could talk to him about coming back. Now we got the cameras, and so I think they might even make sure they've got some contestants during the course of our show to take that challenge. And so we'll try to eat it. One of our listeners called up and said they actually did that they're on the wall. I can't remember. I think, was it Richard DeCopp said he's on the wall? Somebody said they were on the wall there at the Big Texan, and it's legendary. Oprah did a show there. All these networks have been there. I think it's been in movies too, but I love that place. Fine steak, and so that's one of our stops, and then we'll just make some stuff up as we go along and wrap up the road show for the summer. But again, can't say enough about the great folks here in Cheyenne, how hospitable they are to let this crazy radio show from somewhere else come set up and take up space over here. And y'all come and do this. It's always generally this time of the year. I know it's the hottest time of the year. They're having some heat, but generally it's pretty pleasant here if you ever want to come out and bring the family and teach your kids about it. Let them get inspired about other parts of American culture. If you ever take the notion, I'm happy to give you some advice on it because I've done it. I think it's my 3rd time here. Very cool thing. AJ, I hope you got fun plans this weekend. You got anything big going on? You doing anything?
Let's see. Work and
more work.
Yeah, well, and then hanging with the kids. That's it.
Yeah, that's all you need to do. You're in that zone, man. Yeah. That's all you need to do. I'm not gonna watch the World Cup Sunday. Are you gonna watch it? I don't even think I care.
No, if I do, it's gonna be the highlights. So I act like I know.
Yeah, that's right.
So I come in on Monday, be like, "Oh yeah, did you see this play?" I'm like, "Yeah."
If you just watch the highlights, you'll see everything that happens because 2 things will happen in that 3-hour period. And that'll be it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like them playing 5 hours of soccer just to score 1 point. Like, I don't know about
understand
that.
It. I don't understand it. I'm gonna quit pretending that I was even liking it in the first place. So I'm done. We can move on now. Hey, we're only like less than 2 months out from American football.
Yeah.
What are we, like 5 weeks out or something? We're getting close.
We're getting there.
That again. All right, yippee-ki-yay.
All right, be safe
Happy
out
trails.
there. All right. I tip my hat to you because I got a ball cap on. I don't have a cowboy hat on, but that's okay. All right, stay tuned for Breaking Break coming up next. Goodbye, AJ.